Today, we're going to transform this ugly stained concrete floor into a beautiful tiled finish floor. The video today is all about how to lay tiles so you get a professional finish. I've been a tiler for over 3 decades, and I'm really looking forward to sharing what I've learned over those years with you. Or maybe you're thinking of getting into tiling, or perhaps you just want to tile a job in your own home. You might be thinking, where do I start? What do I need? Well, I've put together a brochure that includes the essential tools and materials that you'd need. It's called Tiling Essentials, everything you need to get started. On the inside, it includes a checklist of the tools and materials, and on the back of the brochure, there are QR codes that'll take you to my channel where there's playlists and videos that'll walk you through the different aspects of tiling. Also, it's got a QR code that'll show you how to contact me if you've got any questions. It basically includes everything that I put in my ute to take to a job. It's available as a downloadable PDF in both A4 and letter formats. If you'd like a copy for less than the cost of a coffee, just click on the link in the description below. So while I get set up, Lisa's going to put up on screen all of the things we're going to cover in this video. This video has chapters, so if there's something that you're particularly interested in, jump ahead to the chapter. Otherwise, stick around and learn how to tile like a pro. So because I've already started this tiling job and these tiles here are laid down already, I need to make sure that the new tiles I lay are going to be completely in alignment with these existing tiles. Yes, it's all about the tile joints. They've got to be dead straight. To ensure that this tile joint continues to be dead straight through these newly laid tiles, I need to either use a chalk line or a laser light to establish that joint line right through this section of the floor. Okay, so this is my laser light. I was really proud of this when I first bought it, and it served me well for many years. You can either use a chalk line or a laser light, and a laser light is easier. So I just stick it on the ground, on the floor there, and there's the switch at the side. And if you have a look at my hand there, you'll see my hand there, it's got a cross line and a vertical line. So if you have a look at the top of the little laser light, you press it once and you get the horizontal line, and press it again, you get the vertical line. And if you press it again, you'll get a dot which will form, and you can see that allows you to pinpoint a mark on the floor, exactly the same place on the ceiling. So I'll just press it again, and you'll see the line being displayed there. So I want a vertical line. So I'm going to line this up with the tile grout joint of the tiles that have already been laid. And then I'll know exactly where to lay the tiles to this line here to keep them in line. Okay, so I'm going to just put a couple of marks on where the laser light is. I do that all the way along, join them up with a straight edge, turn the laser light off and start tiling. So the glue I'm using is a rubber modified glue. It's a cementitious based glue, but it's got rubber in it. Gives it a lot of flexibility. I like that glue because if there's any cracks in the concrete slab, it's going to stop the cracks from coming through to the surface of the tiles. The other reason I like it, and this slab's in excellent condition, the people who built this house did a wonderful job. The reason I'm using this flexible glue is it gives a little bit of an insulation to the concrete slab. So with the heat pump on, the heat into the floor tiles won't be absorbed into the concrete slab as much. So that's just a personal preference. Now, if you're wondering what glue you should have for your job, ask your tile supplier. They will advise you what sort of glues are best for the tiles that you've selected and in the situation that you're going to glue them in. Okay, let's get this glue mixed. Now, always put some water in the bucket first before you add the powder. Why? Because it'll stop it from sticking and being unmixed on the bottom. So add your water first. Probably going to put about 1/4 to 1/3 of a bucket there. And pour this in. Obviously you don't want to be breathing the dust. I'll start with that first. So if I'm mixing glue outdoors and I'm putting the glue bag on the ground, I usually throw an old tile underneath just to stop the moisture from the ground soaking up into the bottom of the bag. If you're going through the glue quickly, doesn't really matter, but if I've got a bit left over, it keeps it dry. So I've got a industrial size mixer here. If you're looking to have something to mix the glue with, you certainly need a powered mixer. It's not really enough to mix it by hand. You don't mix it very well that way. Use a drill and go into your local hardware and buy a mixer that goes into the drill. Key thing to remember is don't have your drill set on high speed. Have it on medium to low speed, because you don't want to mix in a whole lot of air into the glue. It weakens the glue a little bit. Okay, add a bit more. Still a little watery, but I reckon I'll add whatever's left in this bag and we'll see how it goes. Might need to open another bag. So you'll see it holds a little bit of a peaks there where it's been stirred. So that's a nice consistency, about like thick toothpaste really. So once you've mixed it to the right consistency, then you just want to leave it sit for about 3 or 4 minutes. That allows the moisture that's in there to really get into the fine particles. And then after about 3 or 4 minutes, mix it and then it's ready to use. So this is my trowel that I'm using to spread the glue on the floor. I'm using a 12mm notched trowel. It's a larger of the sizes of trowels to use because my tiles are large tiles. They're 600mm by 600mm square. And so that'll give me sufficient glue on the surface of the floor to bed the tiles in sufficiently. Now, if you're wondering what size tile trowel to use in your situation, well, best to just get the advice from the tile supplier. They'll advise you the right size notch trowel to suit the size of tiles that you're using and to suit the situation that they're going to be glued in. What else do I use when I'm tiling? These 2 knees. I've used them for 61 years, including my back. My back gives me a bit of trouble, but these good old knees, they're still going strong. So I'm going to keep them. As to what sort of knees you need, you'll need to see your tile supplier. Okay, let's get this happening. So obviously when we're putting the glue right up against the edge here, we've got to be careful of putting too much glue or not enough. You want to have just a little bit of glue along the edge there, so press into it and you've got a ridge along that edge. And then teeth it into the corner. Make sure the glue is made contact with the floor nicely and sort of press it a little bit and bring it out. It's you sort of get the feel after a while. Just play around with your glue for a while until you get the idea. Can you see the angle of my trowel there? That's 90 degrees. That's probably about 45. It's around about 60, I'd say. So I'm using about 60. That's important because it means these ridges are higher. So as I'm troweling along here, I'm keeping it around about 60 degrees angle to the floor so that gives the deepest ridge of glue there. Okay, so if I was to go very flat, it's a lot lower as opposed to if I went steep like that. There's deeper grooves, and that's what you want for your big tiles. So I picked up a lump of glue on the edge there. It's a nice ridge of glue sitting on the edge, and then I put the teeth into the corner of the slab and the tile, make contact, so angle of about 60 degrees, and draw it away. What you don't want, I'll show you what you don't want. You don't want a whole heap of glue like that, because when your tile sits down on it, it'll squeeze the glue up in the grout joint. If you have spread your glue and there's a little bit too much in the joint, you can always rake it out afterwards, but you want to do it before it dries. So this method here, just jiggering the glue around a bit and pulling it away like that. So get the glue making contact with a slab and pull it away. Get a bit more glue from a bucket. I'm going to glue up to this line.
Out back with a hammer and pain, turning old walls into something grand. Dust on his boots, planes in his head, tools all around and a vision ahead.
Now I need to get some tiles. A quick check before you lay the tile. Just cast your eyes over the corners and the edges. Make sure there's no chips, because if it's chipped and you lay it in the glue, you've got to pull it back up again. That's a lot of work. So you really want to make sure it's not chipped and damaged in any way before you lay it. Some tiles have a pattern that interlocks with each tile. So you've got to make sure you lay the tile in the right position. You've got to have it oriented correctly before you actually stick it down so that the pattern matches the one next to it. Now with these tiles, large tiles like this, and not so big as this, but even smaller ones but still big, we need to butter the back of the tile with the glue. So large tiles, you've got to not only put glue on the floor, but you've also got to butter the back of the tile with glue. I'll show you. So I'm using the straight edge of the trowel here, and takes a bit of a knack, but you get it and just get it right at the base there. Just this side of the edge, make contact with the glue to the back of the tile, and then so again this edge. Now I'm going to drag the trowel that way, because if I drag it this way I'll get glue all on the edge. And just go back and clean that up. So the reason that we butter the back of the large tiles is to make sure that every part of the tile makes good contact with the glue on the floor. Okay. Now before I press that in, I use the leveling clips. Pop one under there, one this side of the corner, one here, one here. And they're in ready for the next tile. You can buy one, you can get these strong fists from somewhere or other. They're really handy for helping the tile find its place in the floor. Or you can use a mallet. But this one I never lose, so I use it. Okay, next one. Now I usually select a different tile from different boxes to make sure if there's any shade variance in the tiles, it's all mixed up. And I won't say it's as simple as that, because you'll say, just be quiet, Phil, because it's not as simple as that. It is simple once you get to know how to do it and you've done hundreds of them. But don't worry, just persevere, you'll get the hang of it. Before I bang it into place, put the clips in.
Lisa's inside where the screens are aglow, cutting the clips so the story flows. Coffee in hand, headphones on tight, making magic on the timeline late at night. Oh, we fix it and film it, building dreams from the ground. Phillips making sawdust while Lisa cuts the sound.
Now, before you tighten the clips, make sure the tiles are sitting in the precisely right position.
From the workshop to the edit suite, we're making something real and sweet. Yeah, we fix it and film it, so come along and see.
Now it's important, if you've got hot weather or the sun shines on your glue, make sure you do the touch test. And that is, you make sure there's no skin developed on the glue. That's still all right, but only just.
This little YouTube world of ours, where we make reality. Phil's measuring twice to cut once clean, working out a way to build their dream. Patching, painting, leveling floors, always one job away from starting 10 more. Lisa's trimming clips like a movie pro, adding the beats to the hammer blows. Thumbnails popping, the title's tied, gonna post that upload later tonight.
Now if you have a close look in here, you'll see that the glue has in fact come through the joints a little bit. So I'll show you what you do in that situation. So I usually have a little tiler's wedge with me, so I can just put it in there and pull the glue out. I'll show you. And that way it just keeps it clean. I think that's about right. Right, I run another lot of glue.
Oh, we fix it and film it, building dreams from the ground. Phillips making sawdust while Lisa cuts the sound. From the workshop to the edit suite, we're making something real and sweet. Yeah, we fix it and film it, so come along and see this little YouTube world of ours, where we make reality. choose. Philip builds the future, and Lisa makes the view. So just hit that like and stick around. There's always a fix to be found. Yeah, we fix it and film it.
So do you remember what I showed you earlier? When I touched the glue, it showed that it was nice and wet still and sticky, and it had glue on the finger. Well, this is carrying out a touch test with some glue here that you'll see has formed a skin on it. So this is all good to, if your glue's been down a little while, always good to do a touch test to make sure it's still okay for the tile to stick to. Okay, so I'm going to do a touch test. Press down on the glue, pick my finger up, and it's not covered in glue, a tiny bit around the edge, but yeah, so it's too dry, there's a skin on that glue. So if we've got glue on the floor and it's skinned over, this is what happens. Okay, so bang that into place, take it off again, have a look here. Tiny little lines of glue, just a little bit, but there should be thick lines of glue there. So now I need to remove the leveling clips. Important to use a rubber mallet. Don't use a normal claw hammer, because in case you hit the tile and crack it and do some damage. When you're hitting the clip, don't hit it face on, because it might snap off above the joint. The way to hit it is on the end, and that way it'll snap off below the joint.
So just you wait and see. This little YouTube channel is a home for you and me.
Pickle, what are you doing? You know you shouldn't be on those wet tiles.